The following program is a presentation of Far Sky Media. All content is property of Far Sky Media and its affiliates. This program was recorded and produced at the Far Sky Media Little Willow Studios.
This one is about knowing your worth. This is something that people have to learn and people have to embrace, because when people are upset at you, they immediately try to tear you down. Some people want to bring you down to their level. But I feel that as an adult, you have to reinforce someone's self-esteem when they're young and tell them that everything's not supposed to work out, or else how else are you supposed to learn? If you already know everything and you have no difficulties in your life, then you'll never grow as a person. Many years ago, I got a text message one night and I had no idea who this person was. And they had to rip me apart because they didn't like something I said one time, even though I was defending high school students. And they thought I had no right to tell them to be quiet during a game, even though they were ripping apart teenagers. And to make a long story short, this went on for hours and hours through the night. He said that he had people tell me that I thought I was better than other people, and I never once ever claimed that. I just know my worth. I work hard and I try to be a good person. I say try because some days are better than others. I know I'm not perfect, but I always try to be a good person. If you really do know me as a person, you will know I will drop everything and help someone if they need it. But do I walk around with my head held high? Absolutely. But this text message that I got told me how I don't know anything, and it was very mean because they didn't like something I said. Well, come to find out, it wasn't even the person I was talking to. They might have had the same name, but the person I was messaging back and forth was not the same person that I thought it was. But that person knew exactly who I was, so they told me. So who was in the wrong? I bet we were both wrong in some areas. Because do I have any right to tell an adult what to think? No, I don't. But I can only take so much when they're constantly cutting down people that are younger than them, that can't really stand up for themselves. Because they're teenagers, they're in school, and adults need to do better. And it was a long time ago, and I have met this person many times past that conversation, and now it's kind of a joke because it wasn't even a conversation that should have happened because I was not talking to them. But everything he did say, he felt was true because he wanted to bring me down. And why do people do that? If I'm having a bad mood, do I think everyone should have a bad mood too? If I'm having a bad day, is it right for me to project that onto everyone else? It's not. So if you're confident in yourself, you know that you have to remove yourself from those situations. If you're doing things with a good heart and you have to defend that, who's in the wrong? There's so many opinions in this world. But if you don't research and you don't find out about something that's different, then no, people don't always research things. They'll hear it from their friends. They'll hear it on the news. They'll hear it in a TV show. And they're like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. I tried to give my children and my students different opportunities to learn and grow. We've had 8 exchange students into my home, so my kids can experience different things. We went and visited some of these families, so our family could experience new things. We've had opportunities to travel some places, but when we go to new places, we always learn about that place. I was with my nieces one time when they were very small. I had to help them walk a couple times, but they were very young, and we were in a public place in a bigger city, and she made a comment that made people stop and were instantly on the defense because she made a comment that she really didn't mean it that way, but they took it that way. So I stopped and I asked the gentleman to please wait because she's little and she doesn't know. And then I had the conversation with her right there in front of this gentleman that we can't say things that way because people take them the wrong way. And this is what they're actually called, to be politically correct, so we don't offend people. And these days, everyone's sensitive about everything. And that man had every right to be sensitive. Don't get me wrong about that. I'm just saying that kids, that was a perfect opportunity to teach them something. I didn't want to take that man's worth away from him. He should be proud of his heritage. I tell my children to be proud of their heritage. If everyone was the same, wouldn't this be a boring world? I tell my children to stand up for what they believe in, but they have to do it the right way. If they're standing up for what they believe in, they shouldn't have to tear other people down. If you're tearing someone down to get your point across, then you're not really doing it the right way. Be proud of who you are. Keep your head held high. And if you're wrong, apologize. Don't just apologize because you think you have to. Apologize to change. Apologize to be better. An apology with nothing behind it is nothing. It means nothing. It will go nowhere. You will fix nothing. Everyone can improve. Everyone should want to grow. Everyone doesn't know everything. I know I have a lot to learn yet. Do I want to learn everything though? To be honest, no. I have students and I tell them that they're brilliant because they can do the mechanic part of things, which I have no interest in. And I get them talking about that because that is valued. That is useful skills they have, but they don't see it that way because they were told, oh, you just work on vehicles. Oh, you just do this. Oh, you can't pass an algebra test. Well, they will never use that stuff, so it's not useful to them. But they sit and try and they'll work hard for you if you respect them. And to be honest with them, saying, I know you're never going to use this, but we got to get through this. And I will help you along the way. But they can do things I would never, ever dream of solving and figuring out because that's not what interests me. I can't look at a car and say, oh, it's this, or this. And then boom, they jump right in and they can fix it. I can't do that. I can tell you the color of the vehicle most days. Now they're making that even challenging with all these weird names for colors. Can't be just gray anymore. Everyone has something to contribute. Everyone has a skill that someone else doesn't have, but it doesn't make you less of a person. And if they're good at that, then highlight that for them because they are contributing to society. They are being good people. We need lots of different people in this world. I told my children that they all need to learn how to cook because chances are, if you get married, your spouse might not know how to cook. That's a skill that's being lost anymore. So when my older boys were learning how to cook, how do you teach little kids how to cook? You make them jump right in. So it would have the same sides, and my kids were big into sports and that, so we had a bracket on our fridge. And we'd give them one meat and would split that meat in half, and two people would go cook a meal that night, and they would have both chicken or both beef or both pork. Or they would have to make a pasta. It was different every night. But they got to make their recipe. And they'd have to figure out how to cook. And my husband and I would help them. And all my kids can cook now. When I adopted my boys, and they came in and they asked me can we go to this restaurant and get this? I'm really hungry for it. I said, we can make that here. And they're like, no, we can't. I'm like, you can make anything at a restaurant in your house. And they're like, no, you can't. So we showed them how to cook and how to make that meal. And now they can cook and make meals. But they couldn't do that when they first came into our house. And that's just how I grew up. Don't buy that, you can make it yourself. Oh, that's too expensive, go make it yourself. My husband's very talented. He's good at woodworking. If I can't make it, I know he can. I can look in a pantry and come up with a whole complete meal because I had to do that when I was growing up. And we didn't have a lot of money, so I had to have 3 things. Me and my sister cooked almost every single night until high school when we were in sports and not home. But we had to make complete meals every single night. We had to have some meat, some potato, and some side dish. And sometimes that was hard to do looking in our cupboards. But we always did it. And my kids will look in our pantry and our cupboards and they're like, we have nothing to eat. I said, there's a lot to eat in there. My husband's like, I don't know what to make tonight and that. And I'm like, there's lots of food in there. We can make a big meal. And I showed them that a couple different times. I'm like, let's do this, this, and this, and this. Throw this together, throw this. And they're like, how'd you do that? It's just how I was brought up. Would I like to go out to eat every time? Absolutely. I hate cooking all the time. If I had one wish, I would have a chef come to my house and have every meal prepared for me so I wouldn't have to think on what to cook that night. Because sometimes that's a pain in the butt. But some of those are the best memories I have with my kids when they were little. Teaching them how to cook, making that mess in the kitchen, showing the value of experiencing new things so they can add to their livelihood. Know your worth. How can you contribute? And your contribution better be helpful. If you're just talking to talk, but you're not contributing to anything, then what good is that doing? Grow, learn, explore some new things. You might find out that you like it. Know your worth. Do good things. That's what we need in this world.
This has been a Far Sky Media presentation. All content is property of Far Sky Media and its affiliates. Visit us at farskymedia.com for more information and programs. Thanks for joining us today. This program was recorded and produced at the Far Sky Media Little Willow Studios.